You know what finally made me rethink everything I thought I knew about raised beds? It wasn't a book. It wasn't a YouTube video. It was standing in an Amish neighbor's backyard in Lancaster County, watching him build a new raised bed, and realizing he didn't have a single bag of soil anywhere in sight. Not one. I'd just spent close to $200 filling two 4x8 beds with bagged garden mix from the hardware store, and here's this man filling beds twice that size with materials he pulled from his own property in a single afternoon. And the kicker? His plants looked better than mine by midsummer. Way better. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly how Amish families in Lancaster County fill their raised beds without buying a single bag of soil, and how you can do the same thing no matter how big or small your yard is. And stick around to the end because I'll share a simple top dressing technique I picked up from an Amish grandmother that keeps these beds producing year after year without ever needing to be refilled. Here's my confession. For the first 15 or so years of my gardening life, I filled every raised bed the same way. I drive to the garden center, load up the truck with bags of potting mix and topsoil and compost, haul it all home, cut open every bag, dump it in, and call it done. And it worked. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it didn't. My plants grew. I got harvests. But every spring I'd notice the same thing. The soil level in those beds had dropped 4, 5, sometimes 6 inches over winter, and I'd be right back at the garden center buying more bags to top them off, year after year. It adds up fast. A friend of mine calculated he'd spent over $1,000 on bagged soil in 5 years for just 4 raised beds. Meanwhile, I started paying closer attention to what the Amish and Mennonite families around me were doing. And what I noticed was this: they never bought soil, ever. Not because they couldn't, because they didn't need to. Their whole approach to gardening is built on a closed-loop system. Nothing leaves the property, everything gets cycled back in. And when it comes to filling beds, that philosophy shows up in a method that's been used around here for generations. Modern soil science actually backs this up. Researchers at Cornell and Ohio State have documented how layered organic fill methods create microbial ecosystems in raised beds that outperform even premium commercial mixes within a single growing season. The Amish figured this out a long time ago. They just didn't need a study to prove it. The first thing Amish gardeners understand is that a raised bed doesn't need to be filled entirely with finished soil. That's the assumption most of us start with, and it's the assumption that costs us the most money. What they do instead is build from the bottom up using layers of organic material in different stages of decomposition. The bottom third of the bed, we're talking the first 8 to 10 inches in a typical 24-inch tall bed, gets filled with what most people would call waste: logs, thick branches, stumps, pieces of old fence posts, even chunks of untreated hardwood. I watched an Amish neighbor do this with sections of a fallen oak that had been sitting behind his barn for 2 years. He broke them into rough pieces, maybe 6 to 12 inches long, and laid them right in the bottom of the bed. This is essentially what some people call hugelkultur, though no Amish farmer I've ever spoken with has used that word. They just call it common sense. The wood acts as a long-term sponge, and it absorbs water during rain and releases it slowly back to the roots during dry spells. If you're in zones 8 or 9 where summer heat can dry beds out in a single afternoon, this bottom layer is especially valuable. It gives you a moisture buffer that bagged soil alone simply can't provide. Now here's where things really start to look different from a conventional bed. On top of that wood layer, and they add what I'd describe as the rough middle layer, another 6 to 8 inches of semi-decomposed organic material. We're talking leaves from the previous fall, garden trimmings, old straw, pulled weeds that haven't gone to seed, vegetable scraps from the kitchen, even used bedding from a chicken coop or rabbit hutch if they have one. I'll be honest with you, the first time I saw this, it looked like a compost pile inside a raised bed, and I wasn't sure it would work. But that's exactly the point. It is a compost pile inside a raised bed. As that middle layer breaks down over the season, it generates heat, feeds soil microbes, and slowly converts into rich dark humus right where the plant roots can access it. For folks gardening in zones 3 through 5, this internal decomposition actually gives you a slight soil warming advantage in early spring. Not dramatic, but enough that an Amish friend of mine near Lancaster consistently gets his cool weather crops in a week or 2 earlier than most. This next piece is one that I completely overlooked for most of my gardening life. The top layer, the only only part that needs to resemble actual garden soil is just the final 6 to 8 inches, and even this doesn't come from a bag. Amish families use a mix of their own finished compost, aged manure, usually horse or cow, which is readily available in these communities, and whatever native topsoil they've scraped from other areas of the property, fence lines, the edges of outbuildings, spots where leaves have been collecting and breaking down for years. Paul's ratio, which I borrowed directly from a Mennonite family near Bird in Hand, is roughly equal parts compost, aged manure, and native topsoil. You don't need to be exact. They're not measuring with buckets and leveling it off. They eyeball it, and mix it loosely with a fork and lay it on top. That's your planting layer. And because everything below it is actively decomposing and feeding nutrients upward, this top layer stays richer longer than any bagged mix I've ever used. Let me be straight with you about something. The first year, this kind of bed won't look or feel like a bed filled with premium commercial mix. The soil level will drop as the lower layers break down, sometimes 3 or 4 inches by the end of the first season. That's normal. That's supposed to happen. Realistic first-year expectations are good growth, decent harvests, and a bed that's actively building itself from the inside out. That's still a bed that cost you nothing to fill and is getting better every single month. By year 2, the decomposition has stabilized, the microbial life is thriving, and most gardeners I've talked to, myself included, see noticeably stronger plants than they ever got from store-bought soil. Improve your layering technique each year, and those results keep climbing, but I'd rather you start with honest expectations and be pleasantly surprised. Now, there's one more layer to this approach that ties it all together, and this is where you start to see how it all connects. The Amish don't just fill the bed and walk away. They mulch the surface heavily, 3 to 4 inches of straw, old hay, or shredded leaves, as soon as the plants are established. That mulch layer does triple duty. It suppresses weeds, retains moisture, and as it breaks down over the season, it becomes next year's top layer of organic matter. So the bed is constantly regenerating from both the bottom up and the top down. This isn't a standalone trick. It's one piece of a system, and the system is what makes the difference. If you're in zone 6 or 7, which covers a big swath of the country, that mulch layer is especially critical through the hot. Your dry stretch of July and August, it can cut your watering needs nearly in half. If you're picking up what I'm putting down and you want more of these deep dives into how Amish families approach the garden, hit subscribe. I've got a lot more of these coming. Now let's keep going because there are a few patterns I want to flag before we wrap up. Here are some patterns I've noticed, and I say patterns because I fell into every single one of these myself, so there's no judgment here. The first one is filling beds with pure compost. I did this. A lot of gardeners do this. It seems logical. Compost is great, so a bed full of compost must be great, right? But pure compost compacts, drains too fast, and lacks the structural diversity that roots need to really anchor and spread. The Amish approach layers different textures and decomposition stages precisely because diversity underground creates strength above ground. The second pattern is buying fresh topsoil in bulk and treating it as a finished product. Bulk topsoil varies wildly in quality, and without organic matter actively breaking down beneath it, it compacts and crusts over within a season. I spent years buying truckloads of topsoil and wondering why my beds felt harder every spring. The third pattern, and this one ties back to the system, is treating the raised bed as a container instead of a living ecosystem. Most conventional advice tells you to fill it, plant it, and fertilize it. The Amish treat a raised bed the same way they treat their field soil, as something alive that you feed from within, not something empty that you pour nutrients into from the outside. That shift in thinking changed everything for me. The fourth pattern is throwing away materials that should go into your beds. Fallen leaves, kitchen scraps, old straw, wood from pruning. Most suburban gardeners bag this stuff and send it to the curb. Every bit of it could be building your soil for free. Now here's the technique I promised you at the top. I picked this up from an Amish grandmother near Intercourse, Pennsylvania, and it's something I've never seen in a single gardening book. Every fall, after she pulls her last crops, she takes a full wheelbarrow of fresh horse manure, not composted fresh, and spreads it right on top of the bed, about 2 inches thick. Then she covers it with 6 inches of straw and leaves it all winter. By spring, the freeze-thaw cycles and the microbial activity underneath that straw blanket have broken down the manure completely. She pulls back the straw, and underneath is a dark, crumbly, nutrient-dense layer that she just forks lightly into the top few inches of the bed. No tilling, no bags, no expense. She told me her mother did the same thing, and her mother before that. I started doing this 5 years ago, and every spring my beds come back fuller and richer than the year before. It sounds almost too simple, but that's the beauty of it. The best techniques usually are. That's what I've learned from Amish gardeners about filling raised beds, not with bags from the store, but with what's already around you, layered in a way that builds living soil from the inside out. If any of this changed how you think about your raised beds, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, especially if you've tried layering methods or have your own sources of free organic material. Hit subscribe if you want more of these deep dives into how traditional communities grow food with methods that have worked for generations. Thanks for spending time with me today. I'll see you in the next one.